Yo, what up, guys? It's Derek from Double D Podcast, Double D Report, Double D Podcast, whatever you want to call it, whatever makes you feel happy and warm inside. My co-host Dean isn't going to be here this episode. He has shit he has to handle. It's all good, but I'm still here and I'm still ready to talk about football. Let's fucking go. All right, so week one started off absolutely beautiful, in my opinion. I say it started off beautiful purely because it started off with a great game. The Ravens versus the Chiefs. Unfortunately, I picked the Ravens to win that game, and they lost. Which I'm not shocked by, but I'm also not annoyed by. Because the Ravens are a good team. They will bounce back. It's also week one. They need to get the offense all handled and shit. But it's some players I'd say Isaiah Likely, Zay Flowers, they all showed out that game. And it made the team look good. One thing I will say though is that Lamar is it's not going to be a hot take, but he might be trash. He might be a little trash. From what I've seen in his career, he's won the 2 MVPs, don't get me wrong. He's a great quarterback. I'm not saying he's not a great quarterback. He needs to be more efficient passing, like Mahomes, on their side of the ball. He threw the ball well. He didn't have to use his legs, even though he can. Lamar pretty much passed for 131 yards and then ran for 141. Those are great stat lines for fantasy and all that shit, but that's not going to win you every single game. And it's not going to keep your defense off the field. One thing I also will say, though, is that the Chiefs didn't even play their best game, but their defense, holy shit. That fucking defense stood out. I'm so shocked on how good they did against this new Ravens offense. Spagnuolo had a great game plan. Great everything. I cannot believe how good their defense did against that. I say duo in the backfield with Lamar and Derrick Henry. Going on to the next game on Friday, the Eagles versus the Packers. As an Eagles fan, as you can see, it's beautiful. Eagles know football, even though they didn't know it in the Super Bowl and 2 years ago, but we won't talk about that.
Kansas City Chiefs have won Super Bowl 57.
We played good, in my opinion. Not great, good. The reason why I'm saying they played good is because, in my opinion, I believe that Jalen Hurts can play so much better than that. So much better than that. He's a way better quarterback than what he's portrayed to be. Because these past couple of years, he's been portrayed as, he's only a runner, he's a system quarterback, da-da-da-this, da-da-da-da. But this last game, I know it's only week one, shows that some of the critics and all that and all those fucking people are right. I don't want them to be right. I hope they're not right. But it's showing that they are. He shouldn't be, in the end zone when he threw a pick to J.O. Alexander. There was no need to throw that ball. No need. Just throw it out of bounds, and then you end up kicking the field goal later in the drive because you were in field goal range. Absolutely ridiculous. I was very disappointed in that throw. One thing I will say, which was a huge bright spot for the Eagles, was Saquon Barkley. That motherfucker is a beast. Giants fans, I'm sorry, but thank you. Thank you for being such a dreadful team and letting that man go. Because without him, we would not have won that game.
Life is pain.
He was able to run the ball down that defense's throat, and it was amazing. It was amazing to watch. I was so happy. When I saw the first touchdown was a beautiful pass by Jalen in the left corner, bottom corner of the end zone by the pylon. Great catch, great throw, great everything. But everything else, Saquon just ran it down their throat. And I could just see how ecstatic he is when he's playing for the Eagles compared to when he's playing for the Giants. One thing I also will say, though, is the Eagles' defense, it did seem like it played bad. But in my opinion, I don't think it played so bad because, as I was saying before, Jalen put him in shitty positions, such as, when Jalen fumbled the snap, they were in the red zone. When he threw the first pick, they were in pretty much the red zone. But they did make stops. They did force field goals. I love Vic Fangio's blitzes, but sometimes you have to play zone. You can't just blitz every fucking time and hope that we're going to get there. Because don't get me wrong, our pass rush is good. It's not as good as what it used to be. It would have worked a couple years ago, not nowadays. Because if Jordan Love didn't get hurt on that last drive-ish, they definitely had a better chance than when he was in. I hope Jordan Love comes back healthy, all good. It does suck. He's a young quarterback that just got paid, and he got hurt off a bad field and a bad injury. But it happens. It's football. He'll bounce back, and he'll do good hopefully next week. He'll be good in not next week, maybe in like 3-4 weeks, however long he's supposed to be out. All right, moving on from a game that I am so fucking furious about. The Falcons versus the fucking Pittsburgh Steelers. I swear to God, it was like the fucking Falcons didn't even want to touch TJ Watt. It was like he had a disease that if he touches you, you die. It just made no fucking sense. When I was watching the game, I was like, all right, maybe they'll block him and give Kirk Cousins some time. No, TJ Watt was there in maybe 1.5 seconds, which is fucking ridiculous. He's by far the best end in the league, best defensive player in the league. I'm not saying he isn't, but the Falcons' game plan for that game was a disgrace to football. You have such a good young team with Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London, and a bunch of other young studs, and you choose to display that shitty game against... I understand you went against TJ Watt, who's great, and their defense is good. I'm not saying their defense isn't good, but you let Justin Fields... Don't get me wrong, he kicked field goal, but they won the fucking game. This team was my lock for the week because I thought that the Falcons were a lock to win this game and everything. But instead, Justin Fields pulls off a fucking... I don't even fucking know, and wins that fucking game. And Chris Boswell kicks 4 fucking field goals. There's no reason why a team should win a game off of 4 fucking field goals. I can't even. Like, it hurts me to talk about it because I'm just so fear. I didn't even bet on this game. I wanted to bet on this game because I had like a couple parlays cooked up with like players, touchdowns, and all that shit. But seeing what I saw on display, if I would have bet on that game on like in my spread pool and I would have picked the Falcons and they would have lost that game, my TV would have been done. It would have been in fucking pixels, fucking bricks. I don't know, like fucking Minecraft bricks. I don't even fucking know. It was fucking horrible. Next game, Buffalo versus the Cardinals. I would say I'm very proud of the Cardinals for they played very well for a young team against that good of coaching and a high-powered offense. Oh, it's not high-powered as it used to be, but still a very good offense. Kyler Murray is going to do very good things. The only thing that I would say, though, is that you drafted Marvin Harrison. There is no reason why this motherfucker should be getting 1 reception for 4 yards. Pass the fucking kid the ball. Like, he is so good at route running, and you didn't even give the guy a chance. You got to open up the playbook and have him run, like, even if it's like jet tosses, just him coming out of the backfield and catching it, that's fine. Get him involved. James Conner, though, had a great game. He was able to run down that defense, and I believe he scored 1 touchdown that game, but still, if he continues to play like that, he's going to be, in my opinion, this might be a hot take, I think he might be a top 5 rusher this year if he stays healthy. Because he runs the ball very strong, and it's hard for people to take down that. He's a unit. It's hard for people to take him down. As for the Bills aspect, besides Josh Allen playing phenomenal with 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 passing touchdowns, their team in general needs to play better. Because they started off down against pretty much a young team, started down 13-0. That should not happen. Your team that that consistently makes the playoffs, consistently wins your division. I understand you lost a bunch of players, but that shit can't happen. They're too good for that shit to happen. I'm not saying like change like the game plan entirely, but like just play better. If I'm gonna be completely honest, just play better. You're a better team. Make smarter plays. I'm not saying like they made horrible plays, but I'm saying like don't be stupid and just play what you're good at. Don't force the ball, chucking it down the field. Just don't force the ball going down the field because by them forcing the ball down the field, it stops them from running the ball, which they have a good young running back, as in with James Cook. So just run the ball, contain the clock, and that's it. We'll talk about them for their next week's game because it's coming up tomorrow, which I believe it's going to be a fucking phenomenal game. But we'll talk about that later. Next up, we have the Bears versus the Titans. The Titans pulled off a disgraceful loss. I'm happy because I picked the Bears to win because obviously I had faith in Caleb. I thought he was going to win that game commandingly and take over that offense. Was I wrong? Yes, because Caleb showed he does have high spots, but he didn't play his best of games. Even though he didn't throw an interception, I understand you're a rookie, but you should not be throwing 93 yards in a game. 93 yards in a game is actually horrible. And if the Titans didn't make such stupid fucking decisions with Will Levis damn near falling to the ground and just going like, all right, throwing it, it's pretty much like he covered his eyes and was like throwing a dart and he hit someone. It makes no sense. Like, there's no reason to throw that ball. I understand you had one touchdown, but you cannot. I understand you're pretty much a rookie year. You cannot force that ball. That is an unnecessary ball to throw, and it's pointless to make that decision because it pretty much lost you the game because it was a pick six. You threw a pick six in a crucial scenario. The other defensive touchdown that the Bears had was just great play by them. That blocked punt into a touchdown, that was just great. Special teams play, there's nothing you could do about that. But everything else, in my opinion, Will Levis played like shit. Caleb Williams, same thing. Didn't have a strong start, didn't have a strong debut. Just move on and keep this game in your back pocket. Be like, all right, I played like this game. Let me play better the next game. Use it as a stepping stone. I think Caleb should win Rookie of the Year. Will he? I don't know. Moving on to most people's upset of obviously the week because no one expected this to happen. Even in the previous episode when me and Dean were talking about it, we said there is no feasible way that the Bengals lose this game. Well, we were fucking wrong. The Bengals lost 16-10 to the Patriots. I am so disappointed in the Bengals because I understand you're still going through contract troubles with Jamar Chase, and Burrow just came back and all like this problems and stuff. T. Higgins was out, but no matter what, you are on paper, you are such a better team than them. You should not let the Patriots, who, correct, I could be wrong. You can leave it down in the comments if I'm wrong, are projected to be the worst team in the league this year, do that. No reason they should have won that game. No reason. Burrow played, in my opinion, like fucking shit. He got paid all this money to just play like shit. And I understand, like, oh, you didn't have like Jamar in all the plays. He wasn't like trying. That's what people are saying. Don't bitch. You played like shit. Jamar needs to get paid. I'm not saying he should get paid more than Justin Jefferson, but he needs to get paid. Because what I saw in this game was the entire team is distracted by what's going on. Because the media is covering it too much, and it's just distracting them. I know people might say, oh, it doesn't distract them or anything like that, but it definitely does. Media gets to people. Simple as that. The one thing I will say, though, for the Patriots, Ramondre Stevenson played a fucking phenomenal game. Phenomenal game. He ran the ball down their throat. He scored a touchdown. 120 yards rushing off of 25 carries is pretty good. Pretty fucking good. For week one against a good defense, it's very good. It's very good to look forward to as a Patriots fan. Me personally, do I think they're going to be continuously winning like this? No. But hey, what do I know? I'm not an NFL analyst. For all you know, they could win their fucking division the way the NFL looks. Next up, we got the Texans versus the Colts, which is probably on everyone's, I'd say, week one schedule was the best game of the week by far, because we had two high-powered quarterbacks going against each other. I know we only saw Anthony Richardson last year for like a little bit, but we still saw a lot of good plays from him last year, and we all were looking forward to this game. We all had this checked off on our box for like, all right, let's all sit down and watch this game. To start off, I'd say Anthony Richardson, even though he didn't have that many passing yards, and off of like, I don't remember how many attempts he had, but he didn't have that many attempts, but he threw the ball very, very well. The Colts should be very happy to have a quarterback like him, who's multi-talented, who can also run the ball. But the one thing I will say is that this motherfucker needs to protect himself. He cannot be trucking everyone. This is not college. He's not in fucking Florida anymore. He can't just truck everyone. We're in the NFL. Next time you do that, like what happened your rookie year, you're going to hurt your shoulder again. And I don't think he wants to be out. I think he wants to play football, the game he loves. The Colts, in my opinion, played a very good game. Unfortunately, they had to go against a great team who just acquired Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, who were two big focal points in the win for Houston. Stephon Diggs had 2 touchdowns, one in I believe, the second quarter, and then one in the fourth quarter. And Joe Mixon, who, in my opinion, shocked the hell out of me. He tore that defense up like it was nothing. It was actually unbelievable, and I'm also very impressed by it, because when he was on the Bengals, he wasn't doing I didn't see him this elusive and shit, but I saw a different spark from him. Fantasy owners should be very happy if they were able to sneak and grab him in the 5th to 6th round, because from what I see and him running behind the offensive line, he's going to do very good, and he's going to have a very bright future for them. I think that's probably as much as I could talk about for that game, because obviously there was that one massive highlight for Anthony Richardson, the 69-yard bomb, up with pretty much getting contested, people in his face like this, damn near off his back foot, 50 yards of air time, and perfect throw right over the shoulder. Perfect. There was a bunch of highlights of the throws, but overall, all I can say is that both teams should not be disappointed at all in the way they played. Simple as that. Even though CJ Stroud threw a pick, he still played very well, controlled the ball, had I think he had 9 to 10 incompletions, and he had 1 interception, but it's fine. You move on and you go on to next week. But as I say again, Anthony Richardson and the Colts, you're in good shape. Don't stress. It's week 1, even though it's a divisional game. You'll move on and you'll be good. Simple as that. Moving on from this game, we got to talk about the Dolphins versus the Jaguars. The Dolphins, in my opinion, I'm disappointed in the way they played, because they have such a high-powered offense, and it's not like they played bad. They just didn't play as good as they should. Because let's just say Tua, he had obviously the big touchdown pass to Tyreek, which was, I think, 69 yards down the field, something like that. It was a great throw, great catch, all this and that. It's hard to even catch Tyreek Hill. He's so fucking fast. But in my opinion, I feel like that what happened before the game got all the players on the Dolphins fucked up in the first half. But they did turn around the second half. They were down, I believe, 17-7 going into half, and came back. And yeah, the Jaguars did end up scoring any more points, and they were able to, and the Dolphins were able to solidify and win off a game-winning field goal. It was a good game. The Dolphins have a lot to improve on, because they have a tough week coming up this week. A very, very tough week. We'll talk about it, but all I'm saying is that they have a very tough division game, and they need to strap up, otherwise they're going to lose. Moving on from this game, we got the Panthers versus the Saints. I don't even want to talk about this game much. It was very, very bad. All we got to say is that Saints are still mediocre. They always will be mediocre. It's just they went against a horrible team. With the Panthers, Bryce Young, it's hard for him. The poor kid is running around in the pocket, no time, no nothing. I think Bryce Young will do good in the future, but as of now, the Panthers are pretty much a team you beat up on. Moving on from this game, another bad game. I wish Dean was here to talk about this game, but I don't even think he would want to talk about this game. because the Giants versus the Vikings. That was the worst display of football I've seen on television. Actually, worse than the Falcons, I'd say, because that's the first time in my life where I've watched Red Zone and a team was in the red zone and they're so bad that they didn't even show the fucking team in the red zone. Last time I checked, NFL Red Zone shows every team within the 20. The Giants were within the 20 twice. We did see a field goal, and then another one, he threw a pick. Daniel Jones threw a pick in the end zone. Just horrible. You paid Daniel Jones all this money just to suck. If I'm the Giants, I'm thinking about benching. If Daniel Jones keeps up this shitty play, I'm thinking benching him. Honestly, I'm just thinking benching him because he's not that good. We haven't seen anything good from him besides that one season where he brought him to the playoffs and beat the Vikings. That's it. That's the only positive that he has in his career is winning one playoff game. Don't get me wrong, most quarterbacks don't even do that, but it was just horrible display. Horrible display of football. Their defense, who is supposed to be very good, don't get me wrong, they still had a couple of bright spots with Dexter Lawrence, their left tackle, and a couple other defensive players who did play good. You cannot embarrass yourself on your 100th anniversary. Playing like that is a disgrace to football. I think that if you put a high school team against the Giants that game, they're losing that fucking game. I think if you put the nearest high school team in fucking East Rutherford would beat them easily. I think they'll blow them out. I honestly think they would drop 50 on them with no hesitation. I know they're all NFL players and shit, but they just played so bad. I honestly think actually, let's be realistic. An XFL team with a couple weeks could beat them. What I saw, they could definitely beat them. The Vikings, Sam Darnold started off phenomenal. Aaron Jones played good, and then obviously Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the league. There's nothing else I can say about him. All I know is they played great, and just keep up the good shit. That's all I have to say. One thing I will say to change the topic, though, is that me and Dean have spoke about this. What we did last week with every single game and pick, it's going to change next week. What we're going to be doing is that me and him are going to pick 3 different games. We're going to bet on the spreads, like Survivor, like a Survivor pool. We're going to bet on the spread. We're going to say what team we want on the spread and whatever. But we're also going to have one game to where we pick a lock. We have to choose whatever game it is, and off the locks that we pick, that's how the bet will go. Because we're going to discuss what the bet is and all this and that. Because I know the first episode we were talking about, we want to do a bet and all this, but we thought that this was a better idea. And if you guys want, actually I think it would be better to get everyone in the comments, or like if you see us on TikTok or whatever, put what you think would be a good forfeit for each other to do if you lose the most games. I'm only gonna speak about one of the 4:00 games, is because it's the only one that, in my opinion, caught my eyes. I'm not saying all the other games were bad. I'll just give like a brief gist. Seattle versus Broncos. Broncos did show great bright spots on their defense. Bo Nix still has to do better, I'd say. I was expecting Seattle to win that game. I did not see the Broncos winning that game in the slightest. But only thing I'll be worried about for Seattle is Kenneth Walker being injured with an abdominal injury. I hope he comes back because he's a great running back. But Bo Nix just has to play smarter with the ball. He's young. He'll move on. He'll do good. Yeah, that's it. Moving on for this game, talking about the Raiders and the Chargers. Raiders played subpar to start the game, but then Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh strapped it in, locked in, and just beat them down. J.K. Dobbins, who came from the Ravens, played very well. Justin Herbert did his job in the slightest. Did it not that many crazy plays I saw from him, because obviously he doesn't have the weapons he used to. But I'm not saying the Raiders do have a lot of bright spots with all their young players that they have, and obviously their defense. But they just need a quarterback. Simple as that. Moving on, we could talk about the Cowboys and the Browns. The Cowboys did play good. I hate to say it, they did play good. Defense showed out outstandingly. They played very well against a subpar offense. I was expecting a lot more from the Browns because I did pick them, but I would say I'm disappointed in the way Dak got played because he did get paid all this money. I feel like he could have played a lot better, but he also didn't have to do much because the Browns gave him like a lot of opportunities to just run the ball down their throats, and simple as that, which I wasn't expecting. I thought Myles Garrett and that defense would have stopped him, and they did. I would say that they did shut down CeeDee Lamb effectively. He only had 5 receptions for 61 yards, which is very good because he's one of the best receivers in the league. Not the best, he's one of the best receivers in the league. But all I have to say for the Browns is like, I feel like you need to open up the playbook. You can't just be running those. I feel like they shouldn't be throwing short passes like they were doing on third down. You have way better of an offense to just. You have Jerry Jeudy, Amari Cooper, Njoku, who he did get hurt, but you still have Njoku, Jerome Ford. They're all very good players. Just open up the playbook and let the fucking players play. If I'm the Browns though, I'm missing Baker Mayfield. Because I'm moving on from this game, and I need to talk about Baker and the fucking Bucks. They played so well. Baker Mayfield showed out throwing 2 beautiful touchdown passes to Mike Evans. He threw one to Godwin, and I don't remember who the other one he threw to, but he threw 2 great touchdown passes to Evans and then one to Godwin. The way he's looking in that offense is deadly. As an Eagles fan, I would say I'm scared to play them, but he's looking like a scary quarterback now. He has his weapons. He has a good coach that he likes. He likes the offense. He seems happy. Also, for the Commanders, they did have a down week, obviously, because rookie quarterback, new system. He'll learn it. They did blow him out. I wouldn't say blow him out, but they beat him by 17. But all I can say is that if I'm a Browns fan, though, I'm missing the hell out of Baker Mayfield because I feel like they didn't let that kid show who he truly is. And what we're seeing now with the Bucks is seeing Baker at his best. Seeing Baker how he truly is. Moving on from this game, we got to talk about the Sunday night game, which was a great game. Shocking. Some things were very shocking. A lot of standout players, such as Cooper Kupp, who's always been a very good wide receiver, but always been battling injuries, showed out, had a very good game. Pretty much no one was able to guard him. He had 15 receptions, which was, I think it beats his record. Either 14 or 15. 15 beats his record. 14 ties his record. He just played very well. No one could guard him, even though the Lions have a great defense. No one was able to guard him, and Matthew Stafford was able to pass the ball effectively to him with Puka Nacua going down. God bless. I hope Puka comes back. He's on my fantasy team. I need him. I'm praying he comes back and everything. Another thing for the Lions, I'd say, is Jameson Williams is going to be a stud. He's so good that, like, because obviously we missed what he truly was because he was suspended, then he was injured. Now we're seeing who he truly is to start off the season, a very fast wide receiver who can run up and down the field, and it's hard for corners to even cover him. He's so fast and so electric. It's insane. And also, with the 2 running backs they have in the backfield, it's just great. They have Jahmyr Gibbs, they have David Montgomery. One thing I will say, though, I'm not a coach or anything, but I feel like that if Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery were able to be in the backfield at the same time, that would cause so much trouble for opposing defenses. It would be insane. Because Jahmyr Gibbs is a great receiving back and a great running back, and so is David Montgomery. They're both very good running backs. So, overall, both teams didn't play bad. Obviously, Puka going down for the Rams does suck. He's supposed to be back in 4 weeks, but I think that in the next couple weeks, the Rams will be doing still good, and so I think the Lions, they do need to step it up. They are a better team than the Rams, they will step it up. It's just the first week. There's always first week jitters. There's also, what I have to say is there was a lot of first week jitters for the Jets and the 49ers. Aaron Rodgers, I'm not saying he was horrible in his first game, but he was pretty bad. For all the hype that everyone was expecting a close game, a shootout, this and that, a lot of good throws and stuff. Obviously, he had his high points out in Lazard, those beautiful passes, but otherwise, he didn't play good at all, in my opinion. He wasn't doing Aaron Rodgers things with the offense that he has. I expected a lot more than what he did. I was expecting maybe them to have like 28 points, 27 points. I understand it was only a 8-point difference, but it was majority field goals. Aaron Rodgers did not do good. He had like maybe 100 and something yards. Or no, he had like 213 yards, which is pretty bad for a veteran quarterback. I understand the Niners have a great defense because I'm not throwing shade on them or anything, but just from what we've seen, he just needs to do better. Simple as that. Another thing for the Niners, though, is that with CMC even being out, Jordan Mason stepped on that field and crushed it. Wasn't even able to be stopped. 47 yards and one touchdown. And he was just moving so fast out of the backfield on blocks, out routes, even with Brandon Ayuk not playing good that game, obviously because he missed training camp and all this, they still won commandingly, which I was very shocked about. But this is a team, the 49ers is a team to be worried about. As an NFC fan, we all should be worried about them. Because if they played like that without their best player, CMC, I can't imagine how they're going to play with CMC even being there. Week 1 was, if I could give it a score out of 10, I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. Because there was a good bunch of good games, but then there was also a bunch of bad games. Next week, I'm not looking forward to the schedule as much because there's not that many good games. But right now, we're going to talk about a couple of the games to look out for. For Thursday night, we have the Bills versus the Dolphins. That's going to be a very, very, very good game. Who do I think is going to win? I think the Bills are going to win because the Dolphins have struggled to win in that stadium. Struggled. Tua hasn't played his best in that stadium, and it also does suck because they might not have A-Chain and they might not have Mostert, which are two valuable players that the Dolphins need to win that game. They need their running backs. They need to be able to run the ball. Because what you saw last week with James Conner was able to run through that defense. If we see James Conner doing it, Devon A-Chain and Raheem Mostert, two fast demons, should be able to do the same. I do think this is going to be a great game to look forward to, and I think everyone should be watching this game on Prime Video. I'm shocked that it is a Thursday night game. It should be like a Sunday night game, but it's fine, and I'm excited to look forward. I'm excited for it, and I'm looking forward for it. The next game, in my opinion, that's good is at 4:25 we got the Chiefs versus the Bengals. Those games have always been good. Hopefully, with T. Higgins coming back, Jamar Chase wanting to play with T. Higgins, they'll play good, and it'll be a good fight. Because those games have always been good. I haven't been disappointed about one of those games in the past. The AFC Championship a couple years ago, the divisional round a couple years ago, it's always been good. They've always had good games, and I'm looking forward to this game. Who do I think is going to win? The Chiefs, but I'm hoping, because I hate the Chiefs, I'm hoping for the Bengals to win. Last but not least, we got the Houston Texans versus the Bears. The number 1 draft pick playing under the lights on Sunday Night Football is obviously a massive game for people to look forward to. It's going to be a great game because I feel like that Keenan Allen and all the other assets that the Bears have, they're going to play better, and it's going to be a great game, very competitive. But I do think Houston is going to take this game because they have so many weapons, and it's going to be so hard for them to do it. But I hope it's a competitive game. I hope that they keep it close, and I hope no injuries happen. Simple as that. Because when Houston Stadium, it's very easy for people to get hurt because the way the field is. Let's hope for a good game, and I hope everyone stays safe pretty much. And also, Joe Mixon scores a touchdown because I'm probably going to put him in my parlay. because he's going to probably run for like 155 yards. That concludes this short little episode. Next week, it's going to be even better for week 3 with Dean being back. And we're going to go through new topics for shit we want to do for the podcast and everything. All right? I enjoyed doing this with you guys. Have a good one. This is the Double D Report. Peace.